start. Has anybody ever tried lima beans before?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you guys like them?
Yeah.
No. Well, this story is called A Bad Case of Stripes, and it's by David Shannon. And this girl, Camilla Cream, she loved lima beans. I mean, she was crazy about them.
Oh, I know this one.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, you know, she never told anybody, because all of her friends didn't like lima beans. She didn't want to be different.
I know this one.
You do? Okay. And you know, she was always very worried about fitting in, and today she was even more worried than ever because it was the first day of school. And she tried on everything in her closet, but nothing fit right, nothing looked just right for the first day of school. And she was trying on her red dress for the second time when she looked in the mirror and she screamed, "Ah!" Her mother ran into the room and looked at her and screamed, "Ah! Camilla, what happened? You're covered in stripes from head to toe. Do you feel all right?" "I feel fine," said Camilla. "Well, you're not going to school today," said her mother. "You're going straight to bed and I'm calling the doctor." Well, you know, Camilla was relieved, but she was a little sad that she had missed the first day of school. But she knew the kids were going to laugh at her, and plus, what was she going to wear with those crazy stripes? Nothing was going to go with that. So the doctor came, and he said, "My goodness, this is extraordinary. I have never seen anything like this before." He's like, "Do you have any aches or pains? Do you feel dizzy or itchy?" "No," she said, "I feel fine." Well, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to go to school tomorrow. Here's some cream. Put it on it to get rid of the stripes. And if it doesn't, let me know. You know where to find me." Well, the next day was a disaster. Everybody laughed at her. They called her Camilla Crayon, Night of the Living Lollipop. Oh, it was just awful. And as they were all standing up to do the Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in stars. Oh my gosh, and the class erupted in laughter. Everybody was making fun of her. And this one kid called out, "Purple polka dots!" And all of a sudden there were purple polka dots on her face. And another kid said, "Green triangles!" And green triangles appeared. And somebody else said, "Pink squares!" And pink squares appeared. Oh my goodness. Well, that day when she went home, the principal called. And he said, "You know, I think maybe Camilla should stay home from school until all the stripes and everything clear up. She's kind of a distraction, and some of the other parents are a little worried that it might be contagious." Well, Camilla has not felt so embarrassed in her whole life. Just a couple days ago, she had friends and people liked her, and now nobody wanted to be around her. And her dad, who was very nice, asked her if there was anything that he could do to make her feel better. Well, she said no, but thank you. But at that moment, she thought that a nice plate full of lima beans would taste so good. But you know, she had been laughed at enough for one day. So the doctor came again the next morning, but this time he brought with him 4 other doctors who he called specialists. And the specialists poked and they prodded her, they pinched her, and they squeezed her, and she felt very uncomfortable. And they each gave her a bottle of multicolored pills, and they said, "Try these and take one before you go to bed." And they left. Well, that night she took her medicine and it tasted awful. Ugh. In the morning, she woke up and she felt a little strange. She tried to put on her clothes, but nothing fit quite right. And when she looked in the mirror, a giant multicolored pill with her face was staring back at her. She could not believe it. Well, the doctor was called again, and this time he brought 2 other doctors. The experts, he said. And those experts, they did the same thing. They poked her, they prodded her, they squeezed her and pinched her. And they started talking about the different things that she might have, maybe viruses or colds or allergies. And the more they talked about it, the more the stripes came, and now she had these word swirls and more polka dots. So it just kind of got worse, and she wasn't feeling any better. And they left, and they really didn't know what to do about it. They didn't have an idea. Well, by that time, the news was all over it. They knew all about Camilla, and they called her the incredible changing kid. And by this time, there were people camped out on her front lawn, and it was people were calling and letting her know about all these different remedies and cure-alls. And really, that didn't really make her feel any better either. In fact, now she had like feathers and weird colorful ball things sticking out of her head and like branches, and she just felt worse and worse. And one day this lady called, and she said she was an environmental therapist. And she said, "Now Camilla, take a deep breath and become one with your room." Oh no, Camilla, I wish you hadn't said that. Because at that moment, Camilla melted into the walls, and her mouth became her bed, and her nose was her dresser, and she had 2 paintings for eyes. What are we going to do, said her parents. Well, at that moment, there was a knock at the door, and there stood an old lady as plump and sweet as a strawberry. And she said, "I think I have something for you." And she reached into her bag and pulled out a container full of green beans. "Are those magic beans?" she said. "Oh my, no. These are just plain old lima beans. I thought you might like some." Well, at that moment, Camilla thought how great a big heaping plateful of lima beans would taste, but she still was too afraid to admit that she liked them. So she said, "Yuck! Everybody hates lima beans, and so do I." "Oh," said the old lady, "I guess I was wrong," and she started to walk away. Well, as she walked away, Camilla started thinking about how good those lima beans would taste. And she thought to herself, you know, getting laughed at for liking lima beans was really nothing compared to all the stuff that she was going through. So she decided to finally admit, "Wait," she said, "the truth is, I love lima beans." "I knew it," said the old lady. She reached into her bag and threw some lima beans into her mouth. "Yum," said Camilla. And slowly the room started to spin and swirl, and Camilla was back to normal. "You cured me," she said. "Yes," said the old lady. "I knew the real you was in there somewhere." Well, afterwards, Camilla was not quite the same. Some of the kids still made fun of her and thought she was a little bit weird, but you know, she didn't care. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never ever had a touch of stripes again. Yay! Yay.